So this lesson is on multiplying binomials, and what we'll see here is that multiplying binomials is actually not that difficult of a process. There's some ways of making it a bit easier. You would have done this previously if you've taken the grade 10 course, and what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be multiplying binomials and eventually using this to help define parabolas. So the Minds On section kind of talks about imagining a two-digit number as a binomial, where the tens digit is represented by the T and the ones digit represented by an O. So we'll kind of just go through that a little bit later, or I'll let you do that online. And we'll focus on just how to multiply a binomial and what happens. So let's look at, I've just made up two binomials here, general ones, A plus B and C plus D. And if you multiply these, the A and the C would be multiplied to get AC. Then we can multiply the A and the D to get AD. Then we can multiply the B and the C to get BC, and the B and the D to get BD. So each term in the binomial on the left has to be multiplied by each term in the binomial on the right. Now, a mnemonic that is often taught in English-speaking countries is FOIL, which stands for first, outside, inside, and last. And it's referring to the terms. So you're basically doing 4 multiplications and then finding a sum to get the product of two binomials. So those 4 multiplications can be thought of as the first 2 numbers in the binomials, the outside terms of the binomials, the inside terms of the binomials, and the last terms of the binomials. And then you can just add those to get your product for the entire binomial multiplication. So let's use that method to multiply 2x plus 3 and x plus 4. So the first thing, I just made it in a chart here. We're going to write our first terms would be 2x and x, because those are the first 2 terms of each binomial. The outside terms would be 2x and 4. Those are the ones on the outside edges. The inside terms would be 3 and x. Those are the ones on the inside edges. And then the last terms would be 3 and 4. And the product of each of those would be 2x squared, 8x, 3x, and 12 respectively. Now the sum is the product of the full binomial multiplication. So the sum would be if we add all of those together, and only the 8x and the 3x can really be combined there. So to simplify it, we get 2x squared plus 11x plus 12. Now let's look at another product, x minus 4 squared. So this may not look like a binomial multiplication at first, but if we remember that anything that's squared can be written as that same number multiplied by itself. So x minus 4 multiplied by itself would be x minus 4 times x minus 4, which is itself a binomial multiplication. So you do the each term in the first binomial multiplied by each term in the second binomial. So we get x squared minus 4x plus 16. And when we combine the two middle terms, we end up with x squared minus 8x plus 16. Let's look at some of these support questions. So I'll do every other one of these. So let's look at, let me just pull this up here, my camera. And I'm going to make this a bit smaller so that we can see. Oops. Just a second here. Okay, so we can see both of the questions and the page here. So let's look at we'll do every second one. So 1b, which is x plus 2, x minus 7. So I multiply the first terms, which is the x and the x. So that's x squared. I multiply the outside terms, which is x and minus 7. So we have minus 7x. The inside terms are 2 and x. And the last terms are 2 and negative 7. And then lastly, I just combine the middle terms here. It's usually always just the middle terms that get added together. So my answer for this one would be x squared minus 5x minus 14. Let's try 1D. 1D is with fractions, but it's still doable. Just don't get the fractions scare you away. Here I have my first two terms are x and x, so it's just x squared. And then I multiply here, I get 1/5 of x and minus 4/5 of x. And then I multiply the last terms, which I end up with minus 4 over 25. I can combine the two middle terms to end up with minus 3 over 5x, and my constant term is minus 4 over 25. And I'll do 1f, which is x plus 8 squared, which is the same as saying x plus 8 times x plus 8, which would be x squared plus 8x plus 8x plus 64, or x squared plus 16x plus 64. Number 2 is a bit of a different question. It says to find the area of this rectangle. Now, the area is length times width. And here, our length is 2x plus 15, and our width is x plus 7. So our length and width are binomials. So we just simply multiply these together. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 7 is 14x. 15 times x is 15x. And 15 times 7 is 105. Oops, we're a little bit off camera there. And then we simply just combine the two middle terms. 29x plus 105. And that would be an expression for our area. Now, let's pull up our what our test would look like. So our quiz for this will look something like this. So you'll have different binomials. You're going to be writing down your answer in here. So it'll be something like, I haven't even looked at this, but you'll write x squared like that. I recommend putting a space between, then plus, say you'll have 7x plus 16, for example. That's how you'll write your answer down. And I know it says must be a valid number. Oops, that's a mistake. Okay, and then we have something else here. So just again, x to the power of 2 plus, let's say 4x, then minus 21 or something, right? So just kind of work your way through the test like that. Some of them are fractions, of course. The last one again asks you to find out the area of a rectangle. So that's it for this lesson. Let me know if you're having any difficulty, and I will help you out as best I can.